welcome back to the garden. Today is day one of a few planting days that I have coming up. It's finally time to start getting my summer crops in the ground. I've had my seedlings sitting out hardening off for a few weeks now. We've had some 30 or 40 degree nights, but I think those are finally over, hopefully. So I'm gonna take you guys along with me. Last year was my first year gardening and I grew 250 pounds worth of crops, and I'm looking to double that this year. So let's go. At the beginning of spring, we had a big evergreen tree fall, took down our fence, landed on part of the garden, and it was actually our neighbor's fence, and they had left it up for us but took down the rest of their fence. So now we don't have a fence and we have to get ours replaced. So we actually had to move a lot of the beds to make sure it's out of the way when we get the new fence put in. The only one we didn't move was this tulip bed right here because it had tulips in it, but those are finally gone, so it is time to move that bed. So that is what I'm going to be starting with today, and that's going to go over here at this end. I'm going to turn it into a 2x4 and we're going to get some tomatoes planted in it. Before I move the new bed over here, I'm gonna lay down some weed barrier. We got this from Costco last year. It was $35 for a huge roll. It really went so far. We're still using it. So if you have a Costco membership, definitely check out their garden area. They have so many good finds. We got our raised garden beds from Home Depot last year, and I love them. They're super easy to move around and put together. You can also go the more affordable route and make your own using fence planks that are made out of cedar. You just want to make sure that they are untreated, so you're not getting any chemicals into your soil that'll get into the plants and the food that you're eating. Now I'm just getting some weeds pulled out of here, and then I'm going to plant my tomatoes. I'm going to do 2 long rows using both of the beds, and then my method for trellising this year is going to be the Florida weave. They're a little bit too small to get that started right now, but as they get taller and I start doing that, I will be sure to take you guys along with me and show you how it's done. I have my tomatoes all laid out. I'm doing about 1 per square foot. I have some Roma tomatoes, pink boar tomatoes, which are a really cool, like pinkish black striped tomato. I tried to grow them last year and failed horribly. So I'm really excited that my seedlings sprouted this year and are doing well. Also some beefsteak tomatoes, which are my absolute favorite. When planting anything, you want to make sure you kind of loosen up the roots here. This is going to help them spread and create a really strong foundation in the soil. With tomatoes, you want to take off the bottom few leaves and bury that stem into the ground as far as you can. This again is going to help create a really strong foundation, and it'll grow even more roots. So as you can see, I planted it right up to these leaves. So there's about this much extra in the ground of the stem, and it's going to grow a really strong foundation now. Tomatoes do like a lot of sun, and these beds are a little bit more shaded than I had expected them to be. So there's a tree next to me. I am going to do some trimming on it this week just to let these guys have a little bit more sun than they already have right now. All right, let's move on to the next bed. One more pink boar in here, and then the rest of these are all cherry tomatoes. I have red and yellow ones. I grew these last year and absolutely love them. I also do have some chives in the bed. As you can see, I am going to leave these. Chives are great for pest control, and they taste good too, and they're beautiful when they flower. I'm actually going to be harvesting a lot of these as well and drying them. I'm going to do some just dried chives to have on hand and then some chive butter as well, so keep an eye out for that. All right, those are done. Now I'm going to go grab some marigolds and some basil seeds. They are great companion plants for tomatoes, so I'm going to put them in between each tomato plant. My marigold seedlings, and I'm also going to put in some carrots, radishes, and basil as well. They're all pretty fast growing, so by the time these are big, they'll most likely be out of the way. So for the marigolds, I'm just going to put them in the middle here. Gonna drop in one marigold seed. Marigolds are really great at deterring a number of pests, including tomato hornworms, aphids, and they say rabbits as well, but I didn't have any luck with that one last year. Now I'm just dropping some basil seeds in. I'm going to do some on each end of the bed. We eat a lot of basil, and last year I definitely did not grow enough. Now carrots. I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of seeds on each side of the tomatoes, and then I'm going to put some dirt on top of them. I'm doing a mix of watermelon radishes and regular radishes. Watermelon radishes are one of my favorites. I had never had one until I grew them last year, and I love them. They taste good, and they add a beautiful pop of color to a salad. Now we're going to do the same thing in the next bed, and we'll be wrapping up for the day. Before I plant anything else, I'm actually going to put this soaker hose in. I completely forgot about this, and I was supposed to do this before I started planting, but I'm going to get it done now. We are going to be implementing these throughout the garden just to save some time on watering. Last year it would take about 1.5 to 2 hours to water the entire garden, so this is going to save us a ton of time. The soaker hose is in. I completely forgot to film that part, but I have it weaving through these beds and then going into the next row, which you guys are actually sitting in right now. When I get to those beds in the next video, I will show you guys how I kind of set that up throughout the bed and what I'm planting in those. But for now, let's finish up getting things planted in this bed, and we'll be done for the day. Now I'm just watering everything in. I would use a soaker hose, but unfortunately the hose we got to connect to the house isn't long enough, so I'm doing it the old-fashioned way, and tomorrow we'll return that hose and get a new one. Next video I'm tackling this next row of beds. We're going to be planting some peppers, getting the soaker hoses set up, and some more, so make sure you hit that subscribe button so we don't miss a chance to grow together.